In chapter 15 of the Gospel of Luke, Pharisees are complaining that tax collectors, prostitutes, and other types of sinners are being allowed to listen to Jesus. And not only that, but that Jesus is eating meals with these people. The Pharisees are thinking, what righteous man would ever have meals or any kind of contact with these kind of people? But Jesus responds to the Pharisees with three different parables that are interrelated. The first one, he says, which one of you, if you had 100 sheep and one goes lost, would not leave the 99 in the wilderness and go search for that lost sheep? And once you found that sheep, would you not call your friends and neighbors to come and celebrate, for you have found that lost sheep? Jesus says there is more joy in heaven when a sinner repents than 99 righteous who need no repentance. He then follows the next parable about a woman who has 10 coins, 10 silver coins, but she's lost one. And what does she do? She lights a lamp, she sweeps out the house, and she diligently looks until she finds that coin. And once she finds it, she tells her friends and neighbors, come and rejoice with me because I found that lost coin. And again, Jesus says that there is joy in heaven in the presence of angels of God when a sinner repents. So I don't know if you've noticed so far, but there is a progression that's taking place in these parables. We've gone from 1 out of 100, 1 down to 10, or 1 out of 10, and now the final parable that I really want to focus on, which is the prodigal son parable. We all know the story. We have a rich landowner whose youngest son comes and says, Dad, I want my inheritance now. So the father lovingly gives half his inheritance between the two sons, gives it to the younger son. But the younger son does something interesting. He doesn't take the land and the cattle and the sheep and the crops and goes off and makes a living off that. He wants liquidity. So he cashes in all this. And then he leaves his family, but also his faith and his country, and he goes to a distant land, which is a Gentile land, and he's able to spend all of his money on any and all desires of the flesh that he wants. But at the end of the day, he's run out of money, and he's impoverished, and he's starving. He's actually eating the pods that the pigs eat out in the field. He says, I don't think my dad would ever have me back, but perhaps he'd let me be a worker. At least they eat and sleep better than what I am. So he goes back to his father. But before he gets to his father sees him from far away. And he runs up to his son. And he hugs his son, he kisses his son, and he tells to his servants, go and get the finest robe, a ring and sandals. My son is back home. My son is back home. And they said, we're going to sacrifice the fattened calf because we're going to celebrate. We're going to have a big banquet with all my friends so that they can celebrate with me that my son is returned. Now, I told you about the progression. We went from 101, or 99 and 1, 9 and 1, now we're down to 2 and 1. And what I really found important about this is that in each of these parables, one after the other, there's an increase in urgency and intensity. So I want to leave with you a question. When you think about God, do you think of God being like the Pharisees in that God does not care about serious sinners or bad sinners, that they're not worthy of being forgiven? Or do you see God the same way as the father of the prodigal son, who runs up and is so compassionate, so loving, so merciful to the son because he has come and he's repented? So many of us have had sins that we've committed in the past, and we may think, well, God will never forgive me for that. And the opposite is true. I think Luke chapter 15 is so crucial to us as Christians to realize that no matter how far we get away from God, he is always there with a robe and sandals and rings to welcome us back because he loves us. He is so merciful, and he is so gracious towards us. Thank you.